Okay, we're about 3 hours from kickoff for the Cowboys game. I'm still here working at the Red Brick House and stuff, and I'll be getting ready for the live stream and things. So I hope you guys tune in. I'm kind of mystified right now because I've been hearing about the Jets defense, about what they've been doing to great quarterbacks, right? Okay, let's listen to this for a moment, okay?
As for power rankings, and could your number one be the Detroit Lions? Let's go. "21 years of Around the Horn next month. We've never had the Detroit Lions as number one in the power rankings.
It's coming.
We will get to that. But we start with this savage Jets defense.
Yeah.
Embarrassing good quarterbacks. That's what Robert
Embarrassing
Saleh
good
said.
quarterbacks.
None of you had that 3-3 going into the bye after the way this season started 4 plays in. So really shocking win for New York. But a head-scratching, face-planting, gotta look at ourselves in the mirrors loss for Philadelphia. Jalen Hurts was a backbreaker. What was the thought when he threw it? What was the thought when Nick Sirianni and Philly called it up? And then the 1-minute drill. Oof, nothing again from Hurts in this offense. Just a stunning loss. Bill Barnwell, around the horn to you. How did and could the Eagles lose this?
Wasn't stunning when you consider who they lost early in this game. The most important player on the field, who is not Jalen Hurts, and that's Lane Johnson, the star right tackle, goes out during that first drive when the Eagles score a touchdown. They score a total of 7 points. The rest of the game combined. They have an interception that comes from pressure around the right side where Lane Johnson used to play, and this is not a new thing for the Eagles. It goes back to 2013 when Johnson entered the league. They have the 4th best PBR in football across the various quarterbacks over that time when Johnson plays. 31st in the NFL when Johnson is unavailable. So, more pressure on Jalen Hurts as a result of Lane Johnson's injury. They got away from the running game, and eventually it was too much pressure, and the offense stopped.
Those are great stats about Lane Johnson. But you said he's the second most important player. Jalen Hurts would be the most important player. Those 3 interceptions, Bill, what was the last one?
I think they were trying to set up for a tush push. I think they were trying to get close to first down markers. They didn't have to punt, and they could go run a tush push to run the game. It was just a terrible decision from a quarterback who did not have answers once Lane Johnson went out of the game.
Kevin Clark, how did the Eagles lose this?
This one's easy. Jalen Hurts is 3-7 when he's pressured more than 40% of the time. He's 25-5 when he's not pressured 40% of the time. Like every quarterback, he doesn't like guys in his face. Dak Prescott, who was Lane Johnson's replacement, allowed 8 pressures. Lane Johnson has not allowed a sack in 2,400 snaps since Carson Wentz was on the roster. Dak Prescott allowed the most pressures since Carson Wentz was on the roster. This stuff is not a coincidence. This was a failure of awareness. Run the ball, Nick Sirianni.
Okay, so you're putting a little bit on the coaching calls here to pass as much as they did without Lane Johnson in the line. Wow, I'm hearing a lot about this one loss of a player. Teams lose players every game. Philadelphia hasn't looked like this in 2 seasons, Harry Lyles Jr. What did you see?
Well, so part of the thing of it being Lane Johnson has to do with that 40% that Kevin mentioned on the dropbacks, that he was pressured on those. Well, they only blitzed on 16% of those, which is a season low. So it's the combination of Lane Johnson being gone and the fact that the Jets were able to do it easily. They didn't really have to try to put pressure on him. And the reason that was also a big deal. One, obviously, Jalen Hurts was uncomfortable back there. You could see it, whether it was because of the happy feet that he had when he was in the pocket or when he was escaping the pocket earlier than he should have been. But that also negated the losses of Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed. You didn't have to worry about not having your 2 starting cornerbacks if you were getting to Jalen Hurts without even trying. So the Jets made this as easy on themselves as possible, and I think that's why you saw Philadelphia had such a difficult time with a defense that we believed to be good and was going to make this team a Super Bowl contender before Aaron Rodgers got hurt.
So you are hitting a little bit of a pause button on how Philadelphia plays. I'm a little mystified here. I was watching this game at home, and I couldn't believe Philadelphia couldn't get right and just take over and end this game when they had the last possession, the possession before that. Corey, what did you see from the defending conference champs in the NFC?
Well, obviously, against a really good pass rush, you can't hold on to the ball as long as Jalen Hurts did. 3.4 seconds, the fourth longest of any quarterback this season. And those 2 interceptions that he threw came when he was holding on to the ball longer than 2.5 seconds. The stats are there. That wasn't great. But this comes down to what happened on that 3rd and 9 from Philadelphia's 46-yard line when they dial up an aggressive pass play, a deep pass play to Dallas Goedert. That's on Nick Sirianni. All you had to do was protect your 14-12 lead in that moment. The Jets did not have any timeouts, as we saw there with that 1-minute drill, as you called it, Tony. They, on 3rd and 9, that could have been a run play. At worst, on 4th down, you punch, pin the Jets deep in their own territory.
And their offense couldn't do
jack.
jack.
They don't have all that time, which really wasn't a lot, to go down the field and score. And so, of course, the pick ends up getting returned to the 8-yard line. 1 play later, the Jets score. This, to me, was a coach who we praised for being aggressive, being too aggressive, and not having the situational awareness in that moment to know to play it safe and just get out of there with a win.
Wow.
Other side of the field here, Kevin Clark. Is that hope for the New York Jets? 3-3, nobody had.
Okay, so we'll leave it right there. I'm just going through here because, you know, my question now is, they go through and they talk about how good that defense is of the Jets and how they're making good quarterbacks look like ass, right? That, you know, we're talking about 3 interceptions from Jalen Hurts. We're talking about 3 interceptions from Josh Allen and a fumble. We're talking about Pat Mahomes looking rough. But what's funny is Dak Prescott didn't do too bad against them. Dak Prescott did better than all of the elite quarterbacks against that Jet defense, that great defense, the Jets' great defense. The defense that made the Eagle fans lose their mind last night. Eagle fans now jumping off the cliff. And I know, here's the funny thing is, we're hearing, of course, well, Lane Johnson got hurt. Lane Johnson got hurt, man. So what do you expect? They got pass rush. Hello? And this is not just outside people. This is Cowboy fans. Do you know how many times we've had that happen with Tyron Smith? Do you realize, and us not have a replacement? Can you say Chaz Green? Yeah. It's funny. We don't see the problems when it's the Cowboys. But when it happens to somebody else, we find the fingers to point around. They pointed at the coach on the play calling. They pointed at Lane Johnson being on. Now, they did put some on Jalen Hurts for holding on to the ball too long. They spread the blame around to everybody who deserved it. Why don't we do that with the Cowboys? Yeah. Get back to work here. Take a look over here. Oh, man, I'm so proud of this place. I've got the rest of the molding up. Back over here, just got to finish the last 2 block boxes in there. That's going to look so good. Get this place cleaned up. I'll be done with cutting all the molding up here. And we'll be getting ready to start sanding the floor here in the very near future. And yeah, it's going to be nice. Peace.